Thanksgiving without the stress. This allergy-friendly lineup brings you all the classics without gluten, dairy, eggs, or meat. From dreamy, creamy pumpkin pie to savory Tofurkey, you'll find all your favorite dishes without the worries. I have 3 pounds of firm tofu here that I have drained already. I'm going to get a little bit of extra moisture out by patting them dry with this towel. Next, I'm going to put them into a bowl where I will smash them. Now we are going to season the tofu with 5 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, which is also a 1/4 cup plus 1 tablespoon, a 1/4 cup of maple syrup, a 1/4 cup of Bragg's liquid Aminos, 3 tablespoons of oil, 1 tablespoon of ground rosemary, 1 tablespoon of ground sage, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now I'm going to stir this up. Now we're going to transfer the tofu mixture into a colander lined with a towel. This is going to form our turkey. Press the tofu into the mold. If you're enjoying this, please subscribe and share this with a friend. Try to get as few wrinkles as possible, as the large wrinkles will shape your turkey. Fold the towel over the turkey. Place a plate on it and then some kind of weight. I'm going to be using my green beans. I've also used a couple 5-pound weights in the past. It's up to you. Okay, I think this is my setup. Now we're gonna put our tofu turkey in the... Okay, let's try again. Oh dear, maybe I should just go get those weights. Okay, I'll be back. I think we got 20 pounds on top of here now. There, beautiful. Make sure to put a bowl under your tofu to catch the drops because it will start getting some liquid out. All right, time to take the tofu out of the fridge. It has been pressing for about 2 hours now. You can also press it overnight, which is even better. We're gonna go ahead and unwrap our little turkey. We're gonna carve out some of the inside and put some stuffing in it. I'll link my recipe for stuffing up there. So when removing this part of the Tofurkey, the goal is to leave a decent portion on the edge, about 1 inch. You want to keep that thickness all the way down to the bottom. So no holes, hopefully, but it is patchable if you end up making a hole accidentally. All right, I think this is good. Let's add our stuffing now. Doesn't this look good? Whew. Fresh off the stove. Make sure not to mound the middle, otherwise when you flip it over, it'll cause it to kind of open up on the top. If anything, you want the edges to be a little bit higher than the middle so that it'll keep it together when we turn it over. Press the filling in until you're just about up to the level of the tofu. Now we're going to cover it with another layer, the part that we took out. If you have some scraps, you can save them for repairing any cracks that might happen, or you can just eat them plain. They're so good. Time for the big reveal. I have a cookie sheet lined with my silicone baking sheet here, and I'm going to take out my turkey. Out, pressure on the edges. Ah, look at that! It's so beautiful. Okay, I'm just gonna push it together where it is cracking on me. Okay, I'm gonna use some of the scraps to go ahead and fill this little crack here. And then I noticed that I have a little bit of room here that I can push some of these into. If you want a more turkey shape, there are some turkey molds that you can buy to get more of a bird shape. All right, this beauty is looking so good. We're gonna bake this at 400 degrees. Now for the basting sauce. We're going to start with 1 tablespoon of orange juice concentrate, 1 tablespoon of Bragg's liquid aminos, 1 tablespoon of oil, and 1 tablespoon of honey. Woo! I think that is 1 tablespoon in there already. All right, now we're going to whisk it up. Our turkey timer is saying, check me, check me. All right, it's been 20 minutes and we're gonna take out our turkey and baste it. All right, and we're going to return it to the oven for another 20 minutes. All right, 20 minutes later. Okay, moment of truth. Let's see the long-awaited Tofurkey. Now doesn't that look delicious? So we'll need 1 onion chopped, 7 to 8 mushrooms chopped, and we'll need 2 to 3 stalks of regular sized celery. These stems are quite small, so I got a lot. Thank you for watching my video. Would you please subscribe? And if you already have subscribed, can you please share this with one of your friends? It would be perfect for Thanksgiving. Now we're going to turn a skillet on to medium-high heat and melt 2 tablespoons of butter. I am using Country Crock vegan butter, but you can also use oil if you are allergic to one of the ingredients in this butter. This may be closer to 1.5 tablespoons, but it should be plenty. I'm going to saute each of my vegetables separately so that each one can be cooked perfectly. Wow, so beautiful. Looks like the celery is nearly done. Alright, and when it's done, I'm just going to pour it into this pan. You can tell it's ready by seeing the bright green color. Now another 1.5 to 2 tablespoons of vegan butter or oil and your next vegetable. Okay, they're getting close. Ooh, look at those beauties. Alright, let's call this done for our mushrooms. Alright, that looks good for our onions. Now we're going to add 6 cups of rice. Make sure to fluff it before you measure it. 6. Now our seasonings. 3 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 tablespoon of basil, half a teaspoon of ground sage, half a teaspoon of ground thyme. Now we stir our bread dressing together. Wow, look at all those perfectly cooked veggies. Only possible by cooking separately, or if you perfectly time adding them together. This looks so good. Now, if you're serving this as a side dish, go ahead and put it in a casserole dish, cover it, and bake at 400 for 30 minutes. I put part of the dressing inside my Tofurkey, and I'm still left with enough for a great side dish. We're going to cover this, and you can refrigerate it at this point and then just bake 30 minutes before serving, or if you're serving right away, you can go ahead and bake it for 30 minutes right now. Alright, here's our bread dressing, our breadless dressing. Woo! You can stick some celery leaves on top for a garnish. I must try this bread dressing for you. So good. You will have to try this. First, we'll need to preheat the oven to 425. Now we need 1 14-ounce can of pumpkin. I like to use Libby's brand or my home-cooked. You can also use home-cooked butternut squash. So they're a little bit more manageable in size than a whole pumpkin. 1 can of full-fat coconut milk. I'm using the brand Roy D. 3/4 cup of brown sugar. I'm packing each 1/4 cup. 1/4 teaspoon salt, 1/4 teaspoon ground cloves, 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, and 2 tablespoons of egg replacer powder. You can use Energy Egg Replacer brand or my recipe. I'll link it above. Now we whisk all the ingredients together. That smells so good. Pour the pumpkin pie filling into the prepared pie crust. I will link my pie crust recipe so that you can access that as well. Because pumpkin pie bakes for so long, we'll need to protect the crust edges from burning with foil. Cut a square piece of foil and then fold it in quarters. Measure the radius of the pie against the foil and then cut out to the center. Less is better. You can always cut more if it's a little bit too small in the center. Unfold the foil and then cover the crust, trying not to let the foil touch the filling. Now you'll put the pie in the oven at 425 for 15 minutes. And then turn the temperature down to 350 and bake for an additional 45 minutes. Now is the moment we all have been waiting for. Here's the pumpkin pie. Woo! The pumpkin pie needs to chill at least 12 hours or overnight before eating. My favorite way to eat this pumpkin pie is with my easy coconut whip topping, which I'll link above and in the description. Enjoy! Freely eat! First off, we are going to cut our butter up into cubes and put it in the freezer. Cold butter is very important for this recipe because it is what makes the pie crust flaky. Okay, we're not going to have perfect cubes here. Freezing the butter is also a technique that I use in my flaky biscuit recipe, which I will link above. I am separating the pieces of butter so that they will freeze more quickly. While the butter is freezing, I'm going to add my dry ingredients. 1 1/4 cups of Bob's Red Mill gluten-free flour blend, the 1-to-1 blue bag, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of egg replacer powder, either Energy brand or my recipe, which I will link, 1/4 teaspoon salt, and combine these together. Now I'm going to prepare my liquid ingredients. 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, which is about half a lemon. With 3 tablespoons of ice water. Or rather, 3 tablespoons of water poured over ice. I'm going to measure again. I will make sure I only put 4 tablespoons of ice cold liquid in when it is time. I'm going to prepare my pie filling now, while I'm waiting for the butter to finish freezing. Now that my butter is frozen, I'm going to go ahead and add it to the flours. I'm going to coat the butter in the flours and then cut them into the flour. I'm looking for pea-sized pieces. This is going to take a little while, so I won't bore you with it all. Alright, this is a great texture. Now we're going to add our ice cold water and lemon juice. We need 4 tablespoons of ice cold water and lemon juice. Ooh, there's a piece of ice. Not the ice. 3, and a tiny bit to make up for that ice. And 1 tablespoon ice cold lemon juice. We're going to mix this together. There we go, until just mixed. Now I'm going to dump it out on some saran. And I am going to press it together. And form a disc. And this disc is our dough. We're going to stick it in the freezer. Just going to rewrap it to get some of those creases out. It needs to freeze for 15 minutes exactly. If it is a bit longer than that, just take it out, put it in the fridge until you're ready to work with it. Now, take the dough out of the freezer and add a bit of flour to both sides. This is to keep it from sticking. I'm using the Bob's Red Mill 1-to-1 flour. Rub the flour over both sides of the pie dough. Place another silicone mat on top and roll it out. Check to see if the shape of the pie is how you want it and adjust your rolling accordingly. And also check to see if it's starting to stick. If it is, add more flour. Spread the flour with your hand so that it evenly coats the pie dough. Now check to see if it will fit in the pie pan. It's long enough this way, but not this way. I'm going to put my silicone mat back on and focus on expanding it this way. That seems about right. There's a little hole here. We can use this excess to fix it. Cut a clean edge on the patching pieces to increase the stickiness and make it go together better. Now use your silicone mat to carefully flip the dough onto the pie plate. You can also use wax paper if you don't have a silicone mat yet. Now gently peel the silicone mat or wax paper off of the dough. And lift the edges of the dough to allow the dough to sink into the plate as far as possible. The dough should be touching the pie plate all around so that it bakes in the right shape. Cut off the excess dough about 1 finger width in addition to the edge of the pie crust. We want enough to tuck under once. After this is complete, fold the edges under to equal about double thickness. If needed, you can use the scrap pieces to increase the thickness. Now use your fingers to crimp the edges. Put the scraps in a separate baking dish and sprinkle with cinnamon sugar. Now add your filling and bake according to the instructions for that kind of filling. If the filling is baking for a long time, then you'll need to cover the crust with foil. If the filling is not baking for very long, then you won't. For this pumpkin pie, we're going to bake at 425 for 15 minutes and continue to bake as needed for your filling. Because pumpkin pie bakes for so long, we'll need to protect the crust edges from burning with foil. Cut a square piece of foil and then fold it in quarters. Measure the radius of the pie against the foil and then cut out to the center. Less is better. You can always cut more if it's a little bit too small in the center. Unfold the foil and then cover the crust, trying not to let the foil touch the filling. While we have a moment here, please subscribe and share this video with a friend. Bake as needed for your individual pie filling. The remnants will be done after 15 minutes when baked at 425. At this point, we can take out those little remnants. Now I just have to demo one of these for you. That pie crust is so good. My favorite way to eat this pumpkin pie is with my easy coconut whip topping, which I'll link above and in the description. Enjoy! Freely eat! We're going to cut the potatoes into about 1-inch pieces. For me, mashed potatoes are a celebratory dish. I think of Christmas, Thanksgiving, lots of good food along with mashed potatoes. Family, fun times. What do you think of with mashed potatoes? Go ahead and write it down in the comments below. And while you're at it, please like and subscribe. Thank you. You'll want to make sure you have enough water in the pot to completely cover the potatoes. Then go ahead and place it on the stove on high until it boils and then down to 5. Set a timer for 30 minutes and then check the softness with a fork. After time, you'll be able to tell just by smell if the potatoes are done. The next 2 ingredients will vary slightly based on the size of your potatoes. Start with about 1/3 of a can of coconut milk and 1 teaspoon of salt. Mash this thoroughly and taste test for your desired flavor and consistency. I am familiar with where exactly the potatoes come to on this specific pot, so I could add 1/2 can coconut milk and 1.5 teaspoons of salt right from the get-go. Mash your potatoes thoroughly and enjoy. Want some more? We're going to start with 2 cups of water, about a cup in the blender and about a cup on the stove on high. Next, I'm going to add half a cup of walnuts. If you're allergic to walnuts, please let me know. I've also done this with brown rice flour, and I can give you the details for that. We're going to thicken it with 2½ tablespoons of tapioca starch. Tapioca starch and tapioca flour are the same thing. Feel free to use them interchangeably. And a half tablespoon is the same as a teaspoon and a half. So just in case you don't have that measuring spoon, you can change it out. Now we're going to add 2 tablespoons of Bragg's liquid aminos. This is soy based. So if you're allergic to soy, you can use coconut aminos. And just increase the salt slightly. We're going to put 1 teaspoon of nutritional yeast and half a teaspoon of salt. If you're using coconut aminos, you'll need about 3/4 teaspoon of salt. Alright, let's give this a blend. Alright, now that it's looking pretty smooth, we're going to put it into our boiling water. Alright, now the first sign of bubbles, I'm going to turn it off. Here we have our country style gravy. Who says you can't have it all? That's a full spread that loves both your gut and your taste buds. Enjoy.